let's hit start streaming and see what happens. And there, I think we're live. There we go. That's Jupiter. And you won't be able to, actually now you can see it, just off to the right of Jupiter there is Io, and in about 20 minutes or so that's going to actually get to the limb of Jupiter, and then we'll actually see it move over the face of Jupiter, and then we'll see the eclipse start, and you'll see the shadow of Io move over the face of Jupiter. Now I should stress that this is going to take some time. Watching the solar system move, especially watching big things move from a long way away, it takes a little time. That being said, there aren't many things you can actually watch. Hi chat! There aren't many things that you can actually watch in real time, and this, you'll certainly be able to see Io get closer to the limb in near about 10 minutes. You'll actually see it conspicuously get closer to Jupiter, and obviously as it gets really close, once you've got a something to give it a point of reference, you'll see the movement much better. So, and of course I'm doing a time lapse of all of this. One of the reasons I want to stream it is I'm just curious if I take the entire stream and then compress it back down to a couple of minutes, what it'll actually look like. So that's Jupiter at the moment. The sky cleared up tonight. It didn't look like it was going to be good, and when I first got the telescope out, the seeing, this is basically how much shimmer you get on Jupiter there. Shimmer isn't, by the way, when I bounce around and it moves the image. Shimmer is just the heat rising off the city. Jupiter is very small, and you need a very still atmosphere to do anything with it. So that's my cue that I have to record some more video. I will shortly, after I've recorded the video. So every 3 minutes I've got to record about 30 seconds of video, such that I can make the HD full time lapse later. It looks like it's going to be clear for the foreseeable future. I only need it to be clear for the next 4 hours or so. Then Jupiter will go behind the house, and I can't easily do anything after that. So now that that's done, let's see if I can put you onto Celestia. Now Celestia is the right way round. Jupiter on this is apparently rotating clockwise. That's because you're sort of looking at it through a mirror. So in reality it's spinning the wrong direction. To get this going in the right direction, you have to look at it in the mirror. So Io, the moon, you can just see off to the right there. It's the most volcanic body in the solar system, by the way. Is actually going no, that way. My camera's reversed as well. Right, so Io is moving towards Jupiter at the moment. So let me show you what that looks like on Celestia. So in Celestia, of course, it's reversed. So Celestia is actually the right way round at the moment. And let's see if we can. Where's my Celestia gone? Trying to do too much with the computer here. Right, here we go. Excellent. What speed we got? Lots of speed. Okay, so this is kind of what you'll be seeing. Is Io will first of all go across the face of Jupiter, and then sometime later you'll actually see the moon, the shadow, go across. And if we're lucky, the great red spot will come around. The textures on Celestia here are not accurate. So Jupiter only rotates once. It rotates about once every 9 hours, 8-9 hours, that sort of thing. So there is a very high probability that we will see the great red spot swing into view sometime soon. So let me see if I can put us back to the view of Jupiter, where you can see Io again. And I'm going to have to record some video in a second, and whilst we're doing that, let's hit some extra buttons on here. Okay. There we are. Right, so we are recording some more video. So this, if I do well, will actually make it on to the main channel. So what's hopefully going to happen is we're going to get a beautiful transit of Io, and the Great Red Spot will come around at the same time. So you'll start seeing the Great Red Spot emerge on the lower band on the right hand side, and the atmosphere is picking up some shimmer at the moment, which kind of sucks, but yeah, that's what all the averaging software is for. Cool. So this is going to, like I said, this is going to be a stamina exercise. I've got to stay here for the whole time. You don't necessarily have to. So if you just want to check back like every 10 minutes or so, you'll see that Io, yeah, in fact, this is one of my hopes, is that people will be able to watch this video and just scroll back and forth through it, and you'll get to see the whole eclipse like that, which I think would be awesome. I don't know if anyone's ever done that on YouTube before. I expect someone must have done, but this is actually not a bad setup at the moment. So not a lot of people, yeah, going and watching eclipses on Earth, that's kind of fun. Watching them on another planet, now we're talking next level. So I've got plenty of tea to keep me warm here. It's not actually that cold tonight. There are mosquitoes around, of course, which is more of the problem, but so let's take a look at the stream. And thank you for the super chat, much appreciated. Glad you appreciate the content. So yeah, on your screen, Jupiter is spinning from from right to left. In reality, all the planets spin counterclockwise if you look at them from the top. In fact, the whole solar system goes counterclockwise if you look at it from the top, with the maybe possible exception of Venus. And let's just see if we can okay, take a look at some stuff. What time will it start? It's going to start, I can actually tell you that from Celestia, but I'm going to have to do another recording of some data, which will take 30 seconds here. Just give me a second, start capture. The clunking, by the way, in the background is I've got a time-lapse camera just off to my left here. Tracking is good tonight, actually, which is nice. Okay, I think we're almost done there. You wanted to know what time it's going to start. Let's see if we can work that out for you. So I need to come to Celestia. We need to back this up a little. So according to me, that's about where we are now. Oh, we're slightly off on the perspective. I'm not on the surface of the Earth here, which kind of sucks. But if I were, it looks like it's going to be. In fact, let me show you what 10 minutes is going to look like. So I'm going to roll this back to 7 o'clock. And now I'm going to roll it forwards 10 minutes, just to give you a feel of how quick these things are going to go. That's what 10 minutes looks like, and that's what 20 minutes looks like. So going on that, let's come back and take a look at Jupiter. We're probably 20 minutes out, I would guess. And if I tell you how long the transit's going to take, let me come back to Celestia, and I need to come back to Celestia as well. And so it starts at 7:20 Universal Time. No, 7:20. 8:20, it's about halfway done, so it's going to take about 2 hours the transit. And okay, I'm going to have quite a lot of workload here. Let's come back to Jupiter and center him up. The telescope, by the way, is phenomenally sensitive. So that's good. And I'm going to do one more recording, then I will go for some more questions, because other than that, I'm just sat here every 3 minutes recording the data. There we go, that's good. And in fact, what I'll do, I'll show you some of the other moons in a second. After I've recorded this one, I will show you the rest of the moons, because I can see 2 other moons off to the other side. Just give me a second. How are we doing? 18. Need 25 seconds. Boom, that looks hopeful. Good, right. So now I'm going to have to eyeball that. Right. Goodbye, Jupiter. I need to shrink all this down so you actually see what the hell's going on. And shrink him some more. And about now you should be able to see the other moons. So there's one moon is obviously very close on the right. I can actually, there's an easy way of doing it. I'll just 17 milliseconds on the timing at the moment. Let's just make it nice and obvious where the hell the moons are. So that's where the other moons are. And I'm going to have to go back to 17 milliseconds on the timer. That's about right, about there somewhere. And also, if I might just leave it like that, no, I'll make it a bit bigger. Then, ideally I would have kept all of this very constant for the whole stream. There you go. There's a lot of details. That's why, by the way, I'm all the way off on the side, so when I do the full time lapse, I'll have the moons on the other side moving at the same time, so you get the planet rotating. And is that the great red spot coming round? That could be. So the great red spot will emerge on the right hand side on the lower band if it's going to come, and you'll see it really very early on. Right, one more recording and I am going to answer some questions. And he's a little too close to the edge there. Let's just back him off a little. Super. Yeah, difficult to say. Nice quiet evening though. Very quiet. Okay, I think my sixth sense says we're about to. I'm just going to record the data now. There you go, my sixth sense. So you need data every 3 minutes. A frame every 3 minutes will give you a good smooth animation of the rotation of Jupiter. Oh, he is getting close to the edge. I'm going to have to center that map in a second. Once I've finished with the data, 24, 25 seconds. There we go. Let's pull him back. Okay, and with that, I think let's go on to answer some questions. Hey, Krogoth, someone played Total Annihilation, but yeah, Io's orbital period is a couple of days, so eclipses of Io are actually very common. Io is the eclipse we're going to see tonight, most volcanic body in the solar system, and if we're really lucky, you can get if you're really lucky, we'll see the volcanic plumes in shadow, which you can just about do if you're really lucky. Many thanks for the super chats, Infamous DB and Justin. Why aren't I using an EV scope? Actually, that is hilarious. I was looking at some of the pictures of the EV scope, and you can just about make out the slightest detail on Jupiter. Yeah, so the EV scope is basically crap for planetary stuff. For deep sky, it's not so bad, but you know, I'm in the middle of a city with loads of light pollution, and at that, the simple reality is deep sky is essentially a waste of time. How's life in the Czech Republic? Beer is cheap. In the middle of the day here, yes. So this is the amazing thing, you know, all you've got to do is turn the Earth transparent in your mind and look down to your feet, and that's roughly where Jupiter's going to be if it's the middle of the day for you, and that's what you're looking at on the screen. This is what I love about the modern world, is you can do stuff like this. You can actually see through a telescope on the other side of the planet. Like it's nothing. And at this, I think we're coming up for... Oh, my Jupiter's drifted off. Yeah, it's almost like the... I'm not sure what the hell that was about. It lost the tracking for a bit. Okay. Let's do another record. Oh, I like this. He's slipping somewhere. Either that or the Earth isn't rotating the way it should. I'm going to guess it's the tracking slipping. I want to work out how to get my cursor up on IBS. I'm going to see if I can do it. Actually, no, I'm not. It's since I'm in the USA, looking straight down is where Jupiter is. Actually, in America at the moment, in fact, I can show you. Let's go to Celestia. I've got 3 minutes to in between caps to do this. Let's go back to Celestia and let's zoom all the way out. See, at the moment I'm more or less on Earth with Celestia. Not quite. Oh, I might have overdone it there. Let's go to Earth. Go to Earth. Oh, there's the moon. Maybe we are at Earth. Where's Earth? Ah, there's Earth. I might have just zoomed in a little too far. Oops, constellations. There we go. So, at the moment on Earth, we will see. I need a mouse. Very difficult to control this without a mouse. In the dark. Okay, and oh, I've screwed up the time, of course. So at the moment, according to this, it's night time in Japan. What? This isn't right. This isn't right at all. I'm going to have to kill Celestia and reopen it to reset the time, because yeah, that's very screwed up. This is the problem with Celestia. If you lose track of the time, it can be a bit of a nightmare. So let's put you back on to Jupiter for the moment. Let me record some more data of Jupiter. Center up just a little. That's good. As you can see, we're a fraction of the diameter of Jupiter away from starting the transit of Io. And when you first see the transit, the bits around the edge of the planet are actually dimmer than the center of the planet. Oh, that's horrible seeing at the moment. Which means that when the moon first moves across, you'll actually see it as a bright spot on the planet. Once it gets to the middle of the planet, it becomes much harder to see, but by the time that happens, the shadow will be on the face of Jupiter. So let's get Celestia back up, or maybe okay, here we go, Celestia. And let's put you on Celestia. Oh yeah, there you are, good. Right, so that's what we're like at the moment. There we go. So it's obviously that's where the sun is, so it's daytime for America. And where the hell's Jupiter? There's Neptune, there's Jupiter. So roughly, oh sorry, I'm trying to control this on a touchpad and it's a little sensitive. So it's not quite below your feet if you're in America, but for people like me who's in Europe at the moment, right, I'm about here somewhere. For me, Jupiter is yeah, where is he? There he is, right in the evening sky. And if we center on him, and I can do this, zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh, it's getting close. You see, the offset is essentially a parallax effect because I'm off about where the moon is. I'm not that close to the Earth, which is why it thinks it's there. But I can give you an estimate now on how long before the start. And we'll do that by running time backwards to about there. Oops. So according to that, it's still like 10-15 minutes away. 10-15 minutes away from the start of the transit. And okay, I've got to record some more data. Start capture. Boom. So I could probably automate a lot of this, but yeah, if you're only going to do this once or twice, it's really not worth the investment of doing it all. Actually, I think that's the red spot coming around now. And to prove it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load that last set of data into Registax, and we'll see what the moon looks like. Any more? Will we ever go to Jupiter? What do you mean? We've already been to Jupiter. We went there in 2001, A Space Odyssey. It was on the way to Jupiter that HAL malfunctions and kills the crew. Can you do a zoom into the lip? Like Sam Hyde. Ooh, that sounds horrible. I think your focus is a touch off. Possibly. So as the night goes on, the temperature changes slightly, and the focus of the telescope changes slightly. Usually, if you can see the moons like this, you're actually not doing too bad. But I'm going to try and focus, which you have to be very gentle with. Yeah, you're right. Focus is off. It's also difficult to tell with this much atmospheric shimmer. Oh, there we go. Ho ho! Ignoring the great amount of shimmering crap. Yeah, that's much better. So when this does eventually get made into a video, the entire rotation of Jupiter here will take a couple of seconds. How many hours we got? 2 hours. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. And all of these things that you think are really important, like just tweaking with the contrast and all that sort of thing, you really don't notice them. It's much more important what the weather conditions were like at the time. They trump everything, right? So on the next one, I'm going to pull it in to Registax. Is Registax open? And at that point, we will see. That's sharp cap. Okay. Capture. Start. Oh, that's a nice video. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That yeah, it is the red spot. It's clearly the red spot coming around now. So you'll see, yeah, you're literally over the next 10 minutes, the red spot will become not just subtly visible, but clearly visible. So let's see if we can actually bring you into Registax. I've got a minute or two. I want display capture. I need a Windows capture for Registax. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So now, if the magic works, you will have. There we go, super. Registax. And let's see what this does for us. So that's the images that we were looking at the other night. And we want to see all of the things that I'm working on, like metallic water and argon in air and all sorts. And this is today. And we want the most recent one, who is this one, I think. Okay, last time I was doing this, it almost killed everything because I was trying to get it to do too much. It's quite CPU intensive, trying to stack up the frames and all that sort of thing. So we might get a bit droppy outy here. Hopefully not, and even if we do, it's only going to be for 30 seconds or so. And how are we doing? So yeah, you can just about see the progress bar in the bottom left there. This is the one that takes most of the time, is yeah, aligning everything. After then you throw away all the crap frames and stack the rest. and then there's the wavelet analysis at the end. So hopefully now we can go limit and stack the rest. Stack are going to be useful, which hopefully won't take too long, 10 seconds or so, and then we'll pull up the wavelets, and then we should clearly see whether it's the red spot. Okay, I'm going to have to record some more data, but before we do that, because we can be a few seconds late, don't hang. It's hanging on at 88%. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave you in suspense there on whether it's the red spot. You'll see clearly in a second, because I've got to record a bit more data. Oh, there's some light cloud going over. The image has got noticeably fainter, which I'm going to just randomly compensate for. Yeah, and there's a lot more shimmer on there. Oh yeah, definitely light cloud going over. I can't see it with the naked eye, but it's clearly light cloud. The time-lapse camera going behind me, that'll pick it up easily, but I can't show you that because I'll have to stop the time-lapse. And okay, with that we're done. So I can now bring up the wavelets on this, and hopefully at that point, yeah, it's the red spot. Oh, I can see him easily. And it's doing lots of stuff. There you go, easy. It's a bit over processed, but you get the general point. You can see the great red spot very clearly next to Io. This is going to be a fantastic transit. So first of all, you're going to get the great red spot coming around, then you're going to get Io moving across the face of Jupiter, and then you're going to get the shadow of Io chasing the great red spot across Jupiter. So this, assuming the weather holds out, let me take you back to the actual live view. Live view. There you go. So with a little experience, you can see these things in the sort of raw images that it's the great red spot, and it'll go from maybe it's the great red spot to it's definitely the great red spot in about 10 minutes, which is about the time that Io will touch the disk of Jupiter. And at that, let's come back to the when will it be oh, thank you for the super chats, by the way. When will it be, Professor Mason? Never. There is yeah, the bizarre thing is my publication record's actually pretty decent, but yeah, I don't think I'm even technically a permanent employee here, so and I've got to record some more data. Just give me a second, and I'll get back to the chat in just a second. No. Too many windows with pictures of Jupiter in. I want that one. Start capture. Boom. Oh, cool. Lot of leaning over. I'm going to lean back for a bit, I think, once this one's finished. What are we doing? 13 seconds, 12 more seconds left. You see the shimmer though. I mean, that's a horrific. Actually, this isn't a horrific shimmer. A horrific shimmer is you really can't even see that Jupiter is a squashed ball. So you see that Jupiter is a sort of squashed ball here at the moment. That's because it's spinning so quick that it actually bulges out in the center. The same is true of Earth, but with Earth it's minuscule. It's barely detectable. And what was the other? There was another super chat that went by. Thank you for the super chat, Echo. And right, what else we got? Looks really pretty. Why did God put it there? Interesting question. Yeah. Why did the God put Jupiter there? Well, I know why the aliens put it there in 2001. It's so they can make it into a star, and then Europa. Yeah, there is life on Europa. Let's try and do a board edit on this. Okay. And cancel. Can you describe the setup for the audience, including the choice of lenses? Right, so at the moment, all I've got is an 11-inch Schmidt Cassegrain. It's a Celestron. It's old, but this is the thing about telescopes. If they're optically good basically forever. Not entirely true with some of the Newtonians. You know, the mirrors get they fade and they get dirty, so you need to clean them. But other than that, you know, if a telescope is kept in good shape, it's basically good forever. And I've just got a sensor at prime focus, so I'm basically just using the telescope like a giant camera lens. Basically, that's it. And the modern sensors are oh, okay. And you'll see that the cloud has now moved off, which is why the image is now much brighter than it used to be. So I'm going to have to dial this down to 17 milliseconds again. We might need to do a bit of refocusing as well, actually, but let's do a quick capture on this one. Yeah, starting to get my back, all this hunched over a computer. We're getting close now. Oh, and you can easily see the great red spot even on the raw video. So the great red spot is just to the lower and slightly to the left of Io, and Io is the moon just off the limb of Jupiter as we speak. There we go. And what else have we got in the way of questions? What do you think about launching in December? What's launching in December? Could there be life on Europa under the ice? I'm a big advocate that there is no life on Europa, and the reason is you need an atmosphere. A lot of the chemistry of life, not of human life obviously, but it occurs on the surfaces of aerosols and in lightning, and these are things that you only get in an atmosphere. And you need surfaces as well. So another really important part of what makes biomolecules here on Earth is the sea. Right, the sea's got a surface, and you get surfactants on the surface of the water. You can't get any of this on Europa, because Europa is just an ocean. So that's why I think Europa is a bad place to look for life. Astro Bob, have you tried Astro Stacker instead of Registax? No. It's got to be said, I am amateur hour. Oh, James Webb Space Telescope. Yeah, that's going to be awesome when it launches. It's good that they didn't cancel it. There was lots of talk about them just cancelling it. But anyway, like I was saying, with the Registax, I am a complete amateur. I've not recorded anything for a while. Good. Okay, I just had to check that I hadn't missed a recording. It's very easy to just lose track of time for a second, and all of a sudden you've missed like half a dozen frames off, and you see the seeing is getting significantly worse at the moment. There's all sorts of very ugly shimmer on this. So it's actually quite fun to do this in winter, in the deepest of winters, because there the atmosphere is dead still. And so this is the effect that you get when you're going over someone's chimney, that the seeing can go from being really good in the still atmosphere, then you get the hot air rising off someone's chimney, and it goes to absolute crap for 15 minutes whilst the telescope tracks, or the Earth rotates a bit, and then it all goes back to being good again. Yeah, the shimmer is pretty bad at the moment. Do you think the vaccine is the new religion? Thanks for the super chat, Blue Radium. How does the resolution of Jupiter compare to Galileo's telescope? Oh, that's an absolute. Galileo could just about see the moons. I don't think he saw any detail on Jupiter. He certainly didn't see the rings of Saturn. Well, he saw the rings of Saturn, but he just put it down to bad optics. He thought it was like Saturn, and then there were two little balls on either side of it. So Saturn, by the way, is just over to the right of Jupiter at the moment. I'm very reluctant to go over and try and take a look at it, because it's a pain in the arse to recenter these things again. Two super chats come in. Hot air balloons in Jupiter, plausible or ridiculous? Not a problem. Your big problem with Jupiter is there's so much gravity. It's just slowing down enough. The fastest object of mankind, it was for a while the Galileo mission. It dropped a descender into the atmosphere of Jupiter, and yeah, for a while that was the fastest moving object ever created by man. So that's your main problem. After that, if you can slow down, then yeah, you can float in Jupiter without too much trouble. And what's my favourite element? Oxygen. No, it would probably be. So oxygen's actually got a lot going for it. Third most abundant element in the universe. Fairly important for life. But yeah, I mean, there's also part of me that's always drawn to things like sodium, because they do interesting things, especially with water. Frank the Tank, no problem. Glad you like it. And I'm going to do a little more recording. And so actually, we are getting super close now. You can clearly see the great red spot. And that moon is really close. So this, yeah, this is not too bad. I mean, there is the shimmer. There's clearly a shimmer there, but it's not too bad. When it gets really bad, Jupiter would just look like a wibbly wobbly ball. Yeah, the shimmer that you get on a hot road, apart from you're looking at a dot on the horizon, it just swims all over the place. Actually, so it's possible. Star Trek, Star Wars, or Blake 7. Blake 7. I loved Blake 7 as a kid. Massive Blake 7 fan. And it's also, for those who don't know, Blake 7 is kind of the Dirty Dozen in space, who luckily get hold of a massive battle cruiser, an alien battle cruiser, and it was a British sci-fi series done in the 1980s or something. I was looking forward to your $20,000 Flux Capacitor suitcase and the Carbon 13 diet. Yeah, that is still on the cards, but there is so much groundwork to do with that. So I've noticed something bizarre. I lose weight about twice as fast as everyone else in the lab. And the only way you can lose weight that quickly, this is if I just sort of sit down and I'm just breathing. and you can monitor your weight loss over the period of an hour. I lose weight about twice as fast as everyone else, and I suspect that this is because I'm British, and we live on a very damp island, and therefore we breathe. Conserving the moisture by breathing it out isn't a problem in the UK because you don't evaporate a significant amount of water like that, but in the dry air I do. So I've got to do all sorts of calibrations. At some point I've got to go back to the lab and analyse everyone's breath to work out exactly how much water and carbon dioxide they're breathing out. What the hell was that? Okay, no, this looks good. We're still... yeah, we are really, really close now. Start up there. There we go. I might have to get some more tea at some point. This is already cold. Oh, that's a nice image. That is a nice image. That one a bit too bright. No, I think we're good. I think we're good. So I'm going to import that one into Registax because that was a good one. Red Dwarf was absolutely superb. The first 6 seasons of Red Dwarf blew everything else out of the water. After that, the 7th series was pants. And after that there was a big break because it was so poorly received. I've been told that a lot of the later seasons are actually much better, but I've not watched any of them. Heard lots of good things. So yeah, that's definitely on my to watch list. But the thing is that Red Dwarf, for me, I think it's the first and the second season were the best because it's the pure isolation of Dave Lister, the last human being alive, marooned 3 million years out into deep space, and you know, trapped with a guy who he hates, and a cat. There's some interesting planes going around at the moment. Yeah, I think they're all planes. Anyway, no unknown user, you are not blocked. In fact, no one's blocked. Not that I know of, anyway. There used to be a TV show called Quark. There used to be a guy on Deep Space Nine called Quark. He was a good character, actually. Hello, Thunderfoot. Something about Czechia. I missed that. Red Dwarf or the Young Ones or Eurotrash. Oh my God! Someone is reaching for my heart now. And Space 1999, also epic. Apart from the dumbest premise ever, that the moon is blown out of orbit. In fact, that's on the to-do list of really stupid things in sci-fi. That one's not moving very fast. Is it a star? I don't think so. Anyway, right. John Erickson, is COVID likely to be with us for good? Yeah, I mean it's going to be endemic at the moment. It's very clear that it's not going away anytime soon. Is coronavirus, and there's so much of it around that it's going to be basically mutants forever. But the mutants, kind of like the flu, it's going to be mutants forever. Okay, just give me 30. Oh, this is a beautiful image. This is gorgeous. Oh, and it's gorgeous right at about the time that Io is about to clip the edge of Jupiter. Right, I'm taking this one straight into Registax story chat. I'm going to have to be quick with this one as well, because actually there's another. Right, Registax. 140 men. Lush. This is a lush image. Right. You won't see any of this. It's boring to watch anyway. Set a line point and a line. And I might post this on my UFO. I liked a lot of the Jerry Anderson stuff, and the design on the Eagles is fantastic in Space 1999. Let's see if let's back that off a little. How rare is this event? Thanks for the alternative channel, and thank you for the super chat, Zeus. Transits like this are they're not a nightly occurrence. They occur about every other night. But what you're getting here, the number of times you get a telescope pointing at them on it at the seeing tonight is fantastic. What you're seeing here, you need two things. You need a good telescope, and it needs to be good seeing conditions. And at the moment, the seeing is, oh, this is gorgeous. I'm looking at Registax. In fact, let me pull you into Registax, so you can see how gorgeous this is. Is this Registax? I think this is Registax. Yeah, it is. It's just processing. There we go, 60, 80. We are almost there. But you can see that IO was all red. Oh, that's gorgeous. Right, okay, I've got to do one more recording and then I will be back to you, chat. This is the money shot. Oh, now the seeing is fantastic. I might even try and refine the focus a little more. So that's the great red spot coming through. And yeah, we are minutes away. It's about 5 minutes away from starting the transit. Okay, that's enough on that. And now a wavelet time. I'm not refining the wavelets too much at the moment, but yeah, so I'll tweak this and make it significantly better, but yeah, so what you're going to see is IO you'll see it as a bright spot when it first goes over the disk of the planet. In fact, you can even see the differential lighting on the planet. You'll see that the left side of the planet is brighter than the right side of the planet. That's entirely real. You know, it's kind of like a almost full moon, that, you know, on the edge there are shadows or the light isn't as intense. So yeah, we're going to get a real show tonight. So let me put you back onto Jupiter. Let me put you back onto Jupiter. There we go. And oops, trying to do too much. There we go. So I'm going to have one last tweak, I think, on the focus. I think we're pretty good on the focus at the moment. You always got to be a bit careful you don't make it worse. And there is a mosquito. That, I think, is better. That is fantastic seeing. Yeah, I might have to get some more bug spray in a second. Right. Oh, super chat. Thank you for the super chat. LF Studio, much appreciated. So if you want, at this point, you should be able to just scroll back in the video and just scroll it forwards, and you actually see the moon move towards the limb of the planet. So I'm going to record this, and then I'm going to post that last image up onto the main channel. Actually, I'm not so sure I can do this. Because I'm streaming on one channel, I might not be able to post the image to the other one. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's a gorgeous image at the moment. Right, let's try and do something brave. Bravery time. And I need to go to Registax and save that image. And I'm just going to call it transit. Let's not get too crazy about any of this. And I don't know if I can do it. But let's see. Create post. Good. And image. I'll be back to the chat in just 1 second. And too many goddamn files. Capture. Oh, you. Oh no, there we go. There we go. Reposition. There we go. All day. So preview. Eclipse. There we go. Let's see what that does for you. Boom. Boom. And right. Oh, we're touching. It's touching. It's touching the limb. Right, oh, should I stick to the 3-minute rule? Part of me just wants to record everything now. You see the other moons have moved as well. Start capture. Start. Okay, so this is what the moon moving across the front is called a transit, and the eclipse will start about 20 minutes afterwards. So, and actually at this point I can come back to the chat. And we are getting some comments in. After this stream I want to check collimation. The collimation is actually pretty good. The north-south, the chromatic aberration, Jupiter's fairly low at the moment, and you can get these sort of atmospheric coma correctors. So it's basically you get a colour streak on one side of the image, especially if they're bright. Yeah, the moon is Io, and I don't have one of those, but it's mostly an atmospheric thing at the moment. Let me come back to the image, and we are completely touching at the moment. Completely. Oh, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous image. Let me just center him up just a little. There we go. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to back off the exposure just a little more. As it gets higher in the sky, it does there's less atmosphere to look through, so it does get a little brighter. So you can end up burning out your pixels if you're not. Oh, God, I need a more comfortable chair. Yeah, but this is a absolutely fantastic view. And you see with the great red spot, you can see the turbulence just in front of it, and behind the great red spot, when it comes around, you'll see there's a wake behind it. Yeah, we are touching. Yeah, a flat Jupiter society. Do equatorial mounts work on a flat Earth? Technically, it depends whether the disk is spinning or not, and what axis it's spinning on. So the Great Red Spot, no, the Great Red Spot is in the southern hemisphere, yeah, okay, it's actually moving onto the disk of the planet now. It is actually so this will take a very short period of time. I think it's like a few minutes. In fact, even now I can see the bright disk of Io on the dark limb. We've got some light cloud going over. Worst time for it to happen. Yeah, you see that Jupiter's gone a little fainter than it was. Well, yeah, it sucks, but and now it clears up again. You son of a bitch! Just as I was recording the nice video. But none of this should really matter, because in principle you can take the video that I'm currently streaming to YouTube, which should be HD, and do the stacking from that. Jupiter looks delicious, looks like candy. It's the world's biggest piece of cotton candy, or candy apple or something. So this is the cute thing. Even at this, you can see that Jupiter isn't a perfect disk. It's slightly squished. And as I was saying earlier, this is because it's spinning so quickly that it actually becomes oblate, like that. The image of Jupiter here isn't upside down, but it is left to right. So it's a mirror image, but it's not upside down, which is confusing, but yeah. And Io is now fully on to the disk of the planet. Fully started. Oh, and the atmospheric shimmer has killed the image quality. That's horrible. And we're back again. So this is what the stacking software does, is it takes all of the data and it sort of stacks up the good frames and throws out the bad ones, and then there is a image processing jiggery pokery which really does, compared to what I used to be able to do as a kid when I was trying to take pictures of this on film, this is 1,000 times easier and 1,000 times quicker and 100 times better. So I'm going to do one more recording of this, and then I'm going to take that and process them in Registax, so you'll be able to see the moon full on the disk of the planet. But I am, there we go, that's stabilized a little. Yeah, so I think Io is actually going, oh no, don't do that. Don't shimmer on me. Okay, I'm going to process it anyway, even though we had some light cloud going over with this one. Yeah, it's not going to be as good, but yeah, in parts it's fantastic. Only getting 720p here. Ah, oh, bugger! Am I not streaming in full HD? I don't think I am. Well, it doesn't matter. I think you've got enough pixels there that it won't kill the resolution. Anyway, where are we? Registax. Stacking time. Give me the latest guy where we are full. So you can actually get multiple transits on Jupiter at the same time. So you get multiple shadows going across the face of Jupiter at different speeds. But like I was saying, you need the time of year when Jupiter is in the sky for several hours. It's usually best to do it very late at night. The planetary seeing is critical on having the stable atmosphere, and that's usually most stable just before dawn. So there's only really a period of a few months a year when you can do this sort of thing, and if the atmosphere isn't dead stable, you're kind of wasting your time. And just to do an exercise like this takes quite a time, and just beyond the actual sitting here and recording the data, you've also got to do all the processing on the back end. So it's a colossal roll of the dice. I've been bitten by a bloody mosquito. I hate those little bastards. Let me just see how we are doing. Okay. The align is done on Registax. Flip you back to Registax. Actually no, I'll keep the image up. Ooh, very shimmery. Ugh, horrible, horrible. Okay. Come on, be still. We'll start there. Yeah, so you can clearly see Io now just to the right and upper of the red spot. Oh, that's a lush image. Okay, once I'm done with the capture here, I'm going to put you back to Registax so you can see the last image. Okay, that's done on the capture. And let's bring you back on this. Bring you to Registax. That's the unprocessed image, and let's, like I'm saying, I'm not refining the wavelet processing at the moment. This is just done on the fly, so you just take your chances. But boom, look at that. Look at that. So yeah, by the time Io has got, oh, are you looking at this? Yeah, by the time Io has got to about where the great red spot is, that's when you'll see the shadow of Io first move on to the disk of the planet, which is going to be, oh, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. Yeah, this is gorgeous, wonderful. But this is the fourth attempt that I've had at doing this. Yeah, I mean, it's just so completely random that you've got to get the atmospheric conditions just right, and like at the moment, it just takes a little shimmer in the atmosphere, and you're almost wasting your time. Anyway, right, okay, I can come back now to the comments. In fact, let's put you back onto the live image of Jupiter, and let's go take a look at the comments. Looks flat to me. Yay, great red spot. How long does time take to get there? So Jupiter is about 5 times as far away from the Sun as we are, so it takes light about an hour to get there. I can see I can see Jupiter damn clouds. And okay, let me record some more data. Oh yeah. So each one of these 30-second clips, by the way, I'm recording in uncompressed, which means they're 2 gigabytes a piece. So it's quite. Oh, that is gorgeous. That is. Okay, then it goes terrible. But it doesn't matter, as long as you get enough of the good frames and it's completely junk. Can't see anything, right? Where are we at? Jupiter needs to see a doctor. That spot looks infected. Yes. Do you like pineapple on pizza? That is the most argued over point in the lab. We have Italians, and you know, for them, putting pineapple on pizza is yeah, it's like you've dug up and defiled their mother or something. Jupiter proves that Satan is Lord. Yeah, maybe. I had a contact with the local observatory. Did you ever work with huge telescopes? I've actually looked through the Mount Wilson telescope. It's the 60-inch. They open it up and let people look through it, and you can rent it out. It used to be, it was expensive. It was like $3,000 a night or something. But the they had Hollywood celebrities would go up there. Like apparently Tom Hanks was really into astronomy, so he would rent out the telescope for the night. But I went up there randomly one night, and yeah, they were just looking through it. So I got to look through the Mount Wilson telescope. That's the one that discovered that the universe was expanding. So that was a very inspiring moment. It was also, it turns out, they'd had a cometary impact on Jupiter just before then, so I actually got to see the scar of a cometary impact on Jupiter through the Mount Wilson telescope. I actually thought about, in fact, I think you can do similar things with the Flagstaff Observatory. Now, the Flagstaff Observatory was the one that discovered canals on Mars. So it's just a giant refractor, but it's quite a nice big refractor. Oh, beautiful image of Jupiter. Let me just record this. Just 1 second. But that would have been awesome to have done last year. So last year we got the opposition, a really close opposition of Mars. So I think they missed out on a awesome opportunity there to basically do the time lapse that I did, but on the telescope that discovered canals on Mars. But it was coronavirus. Yeah, had there not been coronavirus, I'd have gone over there and given it a go. You know, see if I could actually sort of talk them into it. But yeah, it didn't happen, which sucks. It's actually, this is the 11-inch Schmet. I did do some experimenting with the 7-inch Maksutov, but honestly, aperture just wins. I've been meaning to do an updated video about which telescope is good, and honestly, aperture just wins on everything. You want the biggest telescope that you can get, but you know, on the flip side, you want to make sure big telescopes are not portable, and they're also more expensive. So that's basically the compromise. But yeah, we are actually coming up. It's very close now. We're going to start seeing the transit start. We're going to start seeing the shadow of Io is going to be touching Jupiter any time now. By the way, it's actually also really freaky because I can watch the stream, which has been going for an hour, and by the looks of it, the stream is running about 10 minutes in the past. I think this is, I've had various lags at various points, so how can someone dislike this? It's amazing. Yeah, you wait till the transit starts, which is going to be really, really soon. And the seeing is good. This is like the perfect time for the transit to start. It's a little more, I think. Yeah. Okay, start capture. And start capture. Boom. Oh, my back is killing me, by the way. Yeah, so Dobsonians, for my entire youth, I had an 8-inch Dobsonian, and I just loved that thing. I've frozen? I hope not. Make metallic hydrogen already. That's tricky. Yeah, so this is the nice thing about doing planetary astronomy. You don't have to worry about light pollution. Light pollution just isn't an issue with Jupiter because it's such a bright object, and most of the other planets as well. So even though I'm in the middle of a city with horrendous light pollution, it's just not an issue for Jupiter or Mars last year. But I'm going to see if I can pull it around and show you the light pollution from here. So there's loads of light pollution. There we go. So there's the telescope, and you get a feel of the light pollution, and that up there is Jupiter. Where is he? I can't see him. There you go, there's Jupiter right in the middle. Just there. Cool. And I got a super jack coming in. Let me take a quick look at that. Yeah, sorry about the long-time fan, love the videos, wish to give more student loans, yeah, and get paid minimum wage, yeah. Yeah, I would, in many ways, if you're poor, I would rather you keep the money. I appreciate it, I really do, but if you're on minimum wage, yeah, you shouldn't be giving money to me. I appreciate it, I really do, but and let me just get one more shot on Jupiter here, and I'll come back to that. Okay, we got some more light cloud going over, and the image is dying. Oh, come on, it's almost completely gone. There we go. That's awesome. Capture. Capture. Yeah. once we're finished, let's come down again. Super. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that I feel. I mean, obviously, the money is very helpful for doing all sorts of things, but yeah, I just feel really awkward about. Just so you know, I've worked. I used to work at McDonald's, but yeah, back then, yeah, the only reason I was working at McDonald's was to get money to buy the telescope. Thunderfoot, you waxed. You mean like waxed on my legs or something? Or man, almost gave Joy $1. What are the other large moons? So the 4 large moons of Jupiter are Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. And hang on, let me just check that we're still done. I think it's going to be starting anytime soon. So what you're going to be looking for is a little bite, a little flea bite just out of the edge of Jupiter, and yeah, you will be able to detect it very early on, like, you know, almost the instant that it starts, but I'm not seeing it at the moment. Greetings, Earthlings. I hope Jesus watches. And Castillo, what planets would you have your corpse shot into? I've always wanted to leave the galaxy. Yeah, none of this amateur hour crap about going to another planet. I want to leave the galaxy. And the thing is, when you take a look at the escape velocity for the galaxy, it's basically impossible. You know, the escape velocity for the Earth is, you know, 10 kilometers per second, and you have to get, I forgot what it is for the galaxy, but it's something astronomical. It's like you have to get a railgun inside of railgun inside of railgun, like 50 of those before you can even start to think about getting escape velocity from the galaxy. You know, it's one of those things that even to just get a few grains of your body out of the galaxy is, yeah, really, really impossible. Alright, hang on just 1 second. No, light cloud, stop. I'm going to dial this up whilst there is light cloud here. And yeah, this is what I mean. If the scene goes bad, you can lose everything. So at the moment, let's dial up the. I don't think we're not starting yet. But now that Io is almost entirely on the face of the planet, it's much harder to see. You will be able to pick it up when I do the processing on the data, but you'll also see that Io is almost overtaken where the Great Red Spot is already. Google says, oh yeah, 500 kilometers per second. I'll give you an idea. Yeah, that's an insane velocity. Something about aura. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Combivar. At the next solar, catch the aurora at the next solar maximum. Big thanks for following for over a decade. Inspired me to study at university. Yes, that's what I like to hear. yeah, because science is awesome and understanding things is awesome. Yeah, 500 kilometers per second is what you have to bear in mind is that energy goes with the square of the velocity. So just to get off the planet is 10 kilometers per second, and we can only do like a ton of that. And you just do the conversion factor. You know, you get the biggest rocket that you can. What's the biggest payload that you can accelerate to 500 kilometers per second? And it's diddly squat. It's like a few grains of sand. Well, also once you start bearing in mind that yeah, rockets don't have payloads of a few grains of sand. Right, okay, I've got to do a little more recording. Start capture. Oh, nice image, nice image. So the transit is really close. I think it's starting. Yeah, I think it's starting. I see a little distortion in the edge of the planet. So just about where the southern equatorial band is, but we'll see, right? This is the thing. If the eclipse is starting, in the next 5 minutes, it becomes immediately obvious where the hell it is. So let's see what we got. Yeah, so you work out what's the smallest rocket that you can use as an upper stage, and work out what sort of acceleration you can get off of it. And leaving the galaxy, yeah, the other thing is there's not much in space, but there is some stuff in space. So you have to also work out what the cross section of gas that you're going to bump into trying to leave the galaxy is, and that's going to slow you down. So yeah, actually, we'll do a video on that sometime. It's a little fun. And let's come back to the image, and you are drifting off a little. So maybe I was just deluding myself. Usually, if you can see it start, by the next sort of frame that you're looking at, it should be very clear. And I don't see it. By the way, I'm going to have to take a break at the next one because nature calls. How long have I been doing this stream for so far? Only an hour, I think. 1.5 hours. And super chat, and for many years working less than minimum wage. Yeah, and considering the bailout of low-income people. Yeah, thank you for that, Rickard. Much appreciated. And okay, and just 1 second. Right, after this, I will have to leave you for a couple of minutes, but I'll make sure everything's centered up so that you get a nice view whilst I'm gone. And when I come back, I'll process one of these images so you can see that Io is just above where the red spot is now. Oh, that's a terrible image. And there it is. Yeah, I can see the shadow. He says for the second time. Okay, right. Back in 1 second. Getting chilly out there as well. The temperature is dropping. There we go. I'm still not seeing the flea bite, so that's. I might have to move the telescope. Yeah, I think it is. Falling off the table. Oh, nice image. Nice image. And after this, I'm going to have to get a little tea as well, because I have to get up and stretch a little every now and then. Going all the way back, all the way back. Good boy. Super. And yeah, record there. This is beautiful at the moment. Okay, I'm going to process this one. Yeah, definitely going to process this one. And whilst he's processing, I'm going to save that one. And lots of things doing. Cool. We're up to a lot of frames already. Can take a lot of clicky work to get this done tomorrow. Set align points and align. That's more of an offset than I would have expected, actually. So the moon is well onto the face. I can't even see the moon on the face of Jupiter at the moment. I know it's there, but I just can't see it. And how are we doing on the stacking? Okay, limit and stack. So hopefully it'll only be about 10 more seconds. Oh god. Oh. And you gotta bear in mind that I was actually doing the time lapse from a significant period before the start of the stream. So I've been doing this for a few hours already. And we're almost done. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And do all. Yeah, he's a bit garbled. Can't actually even see the moon. Okay, that one needs better. That is not a good processing. I'm going to have to sort of do some work on that. The transit, by the way, when you see it, it's going to be super obvious. There's definitely more and more cloud coming over. I'm having to brighten up the image time and time again, and at least I hope that's what it is. The other alternative is it might be the telescope's dewing up. Doesn't look like it. No, it can't be. It's been way too quick to start and stop. Also, the Schmitz they drew up terribly when you're pointing upwards. At the moment it's actually relatively low. That is a nice image. That one I'm going to process. Right, straight into Registax you go. Line points, line. Whew. God. At some point I've earned a coffee or a tea. I think I'll go for tea. Yeah, I would have thought we would have started the transit by now, but evidently not. Yeah, it's a shame. If it would be nice if the conditions that we had like half an hour ago were up now. But this is what I mean. You're going to have the good conditions over several straight hours, and that's usually really tough. Usually you only get it for a few hours before dawn, so I'm really kind of pushing it. What time do we have it? We're coming up to, we're at 10:30 here, so okay, this one looks much better on the stacking. Let's check everything is okay. Okay, that's it. Yeah, definitely. You definitely see it now. Definitely. There is the flea bite in the edge of the planet. Okay, this is the one that needs to be good. Start me. Start me. Manually moving up the contrast. So it's almost exactly in the middle of the planet is the shadow. Awesome, awesome. And so hopefully with these you'll actually see it's an elongated shadow. Where's my Registax gone? There he is. Super. And do all this. I'm going to bring you over to Registax. Yeah, I mean that's easy. In fact, no, I'm going to leave it there because it's only going to be another 5 minutes until we're fully on. And lots of stuff has happened in the chat since I was there. Sorry for ignoring you for a bit, chat, or not ignoring. And another super chat. Thanks for making the effort. Surprising lack of Czech beer though. Yes, but lots of beer makes long streams even more tricky. Yeah, you see it now. Yeah, that's awesome. It's very clear at the moment. Unfortunately, this thing is going bad again. I hate you. Hate you. So, yeah, the moon is now almost fully on the disk of the planet. Or the shadow of the moon is fully on the disk of the planet. So that is the eclipse. You're now watching an eclipse on Jupiter. And when it first starts, it's, oh my god, it's getting really. I've had to put the exposure up like 30%, and even at that, I'm barely keeping track with this. Oh, that's a nice image. Oh yeah, I'm going to start capture there, just because it's such a lush image. Oh, there we go. A money shot. Give it to me, baby. And I'm going to start the timer again. That is awesome. There you go. And that black spot is going to zoom over, and my reckoning is it's going to get to the other side of the planet before the great red spot. I'm going to briefly put you on to Registax so you can see what the last image was like before the actually that's no, I'm not. There's clearly some issues there, but we're fully on the planet now, and you can just about see it's a little more oval. So when the shadow first comes onto the disk of the planet, it's more oval, and as it gets to the middle, it very rapidly shifts into becoming a circular guy. Actually, I ought to do it the other way. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. So after I get one more frame like this, I'm going to get me a tea, and then I'm going to process up one of those images, because that's going to be amazing. Awesome sauce. That's nice. Right, any comments? Let's go back to the chat. Give it to me, baby. Yeah, always good for astronomy. And super chat, Stephen Holder. Hopefully this buys a pint in celebration. Thank you, Stephen. What's on the left-hand side of the stream? The left-hand side. It's a moon, and I can probably tell you which moon it is. In fact, I can. Let me come back to Celestia. The moon is Callisto. Oh no, hang on. No, it's Europa. It's Europa. So this will hopefully be good by the time I get up everything fully processed. You'll get to see the difference. Oh, I've frozen on the stream according to that. Okay. And sharp cap. There you go. Start capture. Oh, that's gorgeous. And that's terrible. Yeah. You can see why people go to the top of mountains for astronomy, just to get rid of that shimmer. Jeffrey, thank you for the super chat. And we're not frozen anymore. Awesome. Right, I'm going to get me a tea. I'll be back shortly. perfect timing. And I'm getting cold. Oh, more to the point, it's getting cold out here. And there we go, super. Oh, nice image. Right, I'm going to capture this one, process it, and actually I might need a little bit more focusing. We'll see. That's swimming a lot now as an image. That's stable. Oh, that's nice and stable. Good. Let's process this boy. So, let's go. Cheers. This is so much more civilized. The last time I did this was out in the desert in America, and I had to stay up all night, froze my balls off. Thank you for the content over the years. Glad you appreciated. You like it, Dean. Most interesting, favourite, most interesting planet or moon? Saturn. Absolutely Saturn. In fact, one of these nights I'll just do a live stream of Saturn, because every time I look at Saturn I get this feeling that even in a universe like ours, a planet like Saturn is rare compared to life. So it's just the most amazingly beautiful thing to look at, especially with good seeing. Oh, it's stabilizing. This is nice. And it's gone again. Yeah, definitely Saturn. But it's a shame I can't zip between them. Yeah, obviously, if I'm doing this continuous time lapse, I can't just go off and take a look at Saturn. Yeah, we should definitely do a hyperloop on Jupiter. Why is Saturn rare? Rings. So lots of planets have rings, but the ones on Saturn are just so spectacularly different from everything else. And there's also this thing that I don't know, but yeah, Saturn is just it's something else. So let's right, let's do one more recording and go process a image of the transit. So already you can see it's moved quite a long way across the face of the planet. We're 10%. Across the face of the planet. Hopefully it'll hold together for the rest of the transit. We'll see how it goes. 24, 25. I'm not going to process that one, but the previous guy. Select that one. I think he was the best. And set align points. Line. Let's check everything is still nicely centered. Yeah, it's not too bad. Go back to the chart in a second. Yeah. So for those who are new on the stream, great red spot, obviously thing in the center, and the just slightly above it is actually the moon Io, which you can't quite see at the moment, but off to the right is the shadow of the moon Io. which I'm currently processing on Registax, who's at 76%, and yeah, it's that using 25% of the frames thing that's giving us issues at the moment, I think. A limit and stack. Oh, that looks a little wonky. That looks a little wonky. Yeah, definitely might have to do some tweaking with the settings for processing all of this. This is the nice thing about doing the time lapse, though, is one frame. Well, it's only going to be on screen for about a 30th of a second, so you can afford some frames that aren't awesome. And wavelets. And that's not bad. That's not great, not terrible. So let's show you that on. Boom. There you go. That's the processed image. It's not as good as it was earlier, and you can maybe see that it's more oval there, but we'll know for certain once the moon gets right onto the middle of the disk of the planet, because then oh, now I can see it's circular now. I can see it's circular. Unfortunately, it's shimmering. Oh no! Don't do that. Yeah. So what you ideally want is the atmosphere to be rock steady, and not be coming and going like this. So when it's good, it's not bad. Like now at the moment, that's awesome, right? But going through and selecting the good frames, it's going to be an awful lot of work. Oh, hang on. You won't be able to have seen any of that because I forgot to turn the video back to the live view. Yeah, now when it's good, it's really good. So where are we at on the? Do you have a Barlow or focal extender? No. The 11-inch Schmidt has a focal length of about 3 meters, and the detectors that you have are fairly small. So if I were to put, basically it all works out just as a 3-meter lens. Yeah, you don't need anything else on it. Yeah, 3.6 Röntgen, not great, not terrible. Stellarium or Celestia, which is best? So for going around the solar system, I like Celestia. Stellarium is much better for astronomy, like what's in the sky at the moment, when's it going to rise, when's it going to set, that sort of thing. For most of the other stuff, I prefer Celestia. Both are free, I think, and both are fantastic. Strongly recommended for both. Tomorrow should be a clear sky in Czechia. I hope not. it's 3 hours. Actually, hang on. I'm going to check to see if there are any transits tomorrow. Because if the weather is good and the atmosphere is still, I'm absolutely going to be there, doing it. But yeah, this is like the 4th night I've done this, and there's a lot of work in all of this, and it's not one of those things where you just sort of walk away from it and whatever. If you do that, you're going to get shit results. So you've got to be here with it. Although at the moment this is kind of cozy because I get someone to talk to whilst I'm doing it. Ooh, There's an awful shimmer on that at the moment. But yeah, you can see when it stabilizes, yeah, it's nice circular dot there. No, like a bullet hole. It's like a bullet hole in Jupiter. Let's just check the stream is all. Yeah, let me center you up a bit on the stream. How much longer we got on this? And I'm just going to check how much longer. So when I started, the Great Red Spot wasn't visible at all. Now he's gone halfway across the planet. Hopefully I'm going to get it going all the way to the other side, but we'll see, and vanishing completely. It's only going to take about another 2 hours, just so you know. So an entire rotation of Jupiter is about 8 hours, so for it to go from the edge of Jupiter to the middle is only 2 hours, and from the edge to the other side is only 2 hours. But I've got to eyeball it and get an estimate of how far it's going to rotate, and when it goes behind the house. 1 second. So my reckoning is I've only got about an hour and a half left on this, which yeah, it's not going to be too bad. So the Great Red Spot will be mostly off to the left side of the planet by the time I'm done here. And if the seeing goes like this, then yeah, I mean I'll stay here because I'm committed to this now. But there we go, and you can see the high cloud going over again. And I'm going to have to dial down the burned out on the middle of the image there. Yeah, this is not the greatest at the moment. On the best nights, when you get that rock steady atmosphere just before dawn, yeah, you get none of this sort of shimmering in and out of focus. It's just rock steady the whole time. It also helps if the planet is high in the sky, and at the moment it's 30 degrees high. Yeah, this is very bad seeing, compared to what it was earlier. Yeah, that's not good. But it's also kind of fun for those who've been watching all this time. You can see how the seeing can just go from good to bad in not so long. Let's see if we've got anything on the chat front. What's going to eclipse what? So the little black dot that you're seeing at the moment is the shadow of the moon Io on the face of Jupiter. Do you still revisit Charlotte Hobby's visual astronomy? Absolutely. So the only reason I hook up usually the essentially the electronic eyepiece is when I'm doing something like this, a time lapse, but other than that, there's something very organic about just looking at things. What the fuck is it? What you're looking at the moment is Jupiter. The thing in the middle of the lower band is the Great Red Spot, and the thing in the middle, the black spot in the middle on the right, is the shadow of the moon Io. What deep space missions are you looking forward to the most? I wouldn't mind actually seeing people try and go back to Venus. The Mars ones, there's lots of them, and they're incredible. NASA has got so good at going to Mars. And the rovers that they're sending do very good geology, and an awful lot of it as well. But it's the problem is, yeah, if they were to find fossils, then that would be nice. But there's part of me suspects probably not. But it would be absolutely amazing if we found fossils on Mars. Manual set to 720p. I have to check the stream settings for. Normally I don't worry too much about whether it's in full HD or not. This time it would have made a difference, but it also really stresses out my laptop, which is being asked to do a lot of other things at the same time. So let me just record a little bit more. And there's cloud going across again. Come on, straighten up for me. Oh, this is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Okay, let's go for it there, and let's give us a little more brightness. That's not going to be a good image. Not going to be a good image. And this is where it gets... yeah, the biggest telescope in the world with a bad atmosphere is junk. And at the moment, hey, when it's really shimmery like that, it's almost as bad as the EV scope. And it looks like I've frozen again, but hopefully I've not. Didn't Mars get cold with life? Focus. I wish. This is the atmosphere. There's nothing you can do about it, which just sucks. But occasionally, you know, you can still see that when the atmosphere stabilizes a bit, you can clearly see the black dot Io is, or the moon of Io. All hail the UFO. Yes, we have Jupiter has got acne. It's got blackheads. They need to be squeezed, and yeah, they need to get all the black. Jupiter needs to have sanitary wipes or something. So sadly, it looks like the seeing is just going downhill. I've almost got twice as the exposure length that I had earlier, and yeah, this is just because there's light cloud, and if there's light cloud, if it's moving, then you've got agitated atmosphere. Usually the best conditions are light fog, and it's almost by definition, if you're getting a light fog, then the atmosphere is very stable, and those are generally held to be the best planetary conditions. Let me straighten this boy up, and about there somewhere. So I'm still holding out hope that, just like the atmosphere has gone to shit in the last half hour, that it can go back again. Right? It can stabilize again. You could maybe everyone can start praying to the gods of stable atmosphere. I'm sure they exist somewhere. Yeah, it's a beauty spot. Really can't fail. Kickstarter fulfilled by a satellite telescope. That would be awesome. So I did think about sort of setting up, just going to one of these observatories and setting up a robotic telescope that basically constantly streams Jupiter. That's all it does. And yeah, I don't know why some observatory hasn't done it, because that would be awesome. And then you could write the automation for it, and it would actually be really interesting. So the atmospheric bands, the weather on Jupiter changes fairly quickly. It's a very dynamic system to look. I mean, it rotates very quickly. I mean, you've watched it rotate a quarter of a revolution just over the period of this stream. I really do hope that's stabilizing. Let me come back and take a look at what we have. No, it's still getting fainter and fainter. There's more and more cloud up there. I'm almost up to 0.05 seconds on the exposure, which is crazy long for these things. But maybe. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. So this is now, I was on 17 millisecond exposure earlier, so I'm losing 3/4 of the photons to cloud at the moment. But as long as it's stable, I don't care. Right? Length of if you've got a nice start capture. Boom. How are we doing for time? 11 o'clock. Oh. It still needs even more. Damn. Yeah, I'm getting up for 100 millisecond exposure now. I could probably do some pixel averaging or something. Oh, but it is. It's I can't see any of the other stars. This will look fantastic on the time-lapse camera over here. I'm going to go up even higher. That's too much. So this is now over 100 millisecond exposure. 0.1 of a second. Yeah, this is a challenge. This is a challenge. I need just under, about there somewhere. So usually what would happen in an ideal world is you would just lock off the exposure and just run it all night long like that. Yeah. No, it's not fog. It's definitely not fog. And I'm taking a look at the light over the valley. It's not a perfectly still atmosphere, but it's not bad. There we go. That's not so bad. Right, back to the comments. Is the car of Elon flying around? I see the dot. Yeah, that's the shadow of Io. Raisinbot says something in Russian. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, there is AI processing. Unfortunately, it can't. If all you're getting is a shimmery image, then all the processing in the world's not going to help you. You need. I'm going to have to do some more tweaking. Actually, yeah. Start capture. Yeah, I mean, there comes a point when it's just like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Not massively optimistic about some of this, but the images from earlier will be fantastic. Unfortunately, it goes to shit almost the second that the transit starts. So IO should at the moment be just above the great red spot. You will be able to see it once everything is fully processed. I'm going to process one of those just for a laugh. I'm going to show you what the last process image looked like, which was that. That's at the beginning of the transit, which is actually pretty decent. So, yeah, you're not getting a lot out of that. Let's come back to Registax and load up the next one. So fortunately, Registax does have some macro options, but you're kind of limited that it just does the same thing for everything, which that helps a lot. But if you're going to process every single image here, it will take you for, optimizing each one, it will take you absolutely forever. So you do have to take some shortcuts with these things. And like we're saying, each frame is only going to be on the screen for a 30th of a second. So, one sort of screwed up frame, the eye naturally sort of interpolates around it. Okay, and this doesn't look too bad on the stacking. How's Jupiter looking? And faint, very, very faint. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I just lose Jupiter altogether in the fog here. I'm over 100 milliseconds now on the exposure. But, once we get to the wavelets, it's not actually that bad. Let's just check that you can see this. Yeah, there you go. So with the wavelet processing, it's not great. I mean, it's not as good as it was earlier, but it's not bad. And can you see IO there? Yes, you can. IO is directly above the red spot. Oh, okay, let's come back to the live view, which is distinctly shimmery. And okay, and one more record. Yeah, I mean, my main problem at the moment is Jupiter is visible, but not greatly visible. And if the atmosphere was super still, that wouldn't be a problem. The problem is the atmosphere isn't super still, which, yeah, it's life. Yeah, Common Sense Skeptic does some nice stuff. I like his stuff. I think we would need gliders and drones. Balloons is probably the best thing for Jupiter. They did actually have some balloons in the atmosphere of Venus, which was AI is great at 480p pop videos in 1080p. False information. Yeah, it's like the morning after when you take off the beer goggles. That's true. Ah, and Common Sense Skeptics here. Hey. Nah, like your work, Common Sense. It's good stuff. And Shadow Web. Thanks for the devil. The devil's in the dollar. And it looks. Holy crap! I can't believe how much I have to push up the exposure. There's something called LX mode here. Check this box for long exposures, more than 1 second. We're not doing that. High speed mode, we're not doing that. Okay, we're just gonna have to push up the 127 millisecond exposure. That's crazy for Jupiter. And even at that, it's getting fainter and fainter. So in a second here, I'm going to put the exposure back to what it was when I started, just so you get a feel for how much crap there is in the atmosphere at the moment. So I think we're at 17 milliseconds. I'm now losing 80% of the light. It's even, oh, it's a nice stable image for a bit. And I got it recorded. Okay, alright, now I'm going to put the image back to 17 milliseconds. That was giving me a good image at the beginning of the night, and now we're up at 132 milliseconds. Yeah, I mean, we might just lose this all together at some point. Common Sense says, we'll have to check the parameters on the contract. Yeah. So we usually, when you're out with the telescope, you're usually limited to a laptop. That's plenty good enough for recording the video and everything, but once you start trying to stream it at the same time, it's a bit of a push. And then once you start doing fairly CPU intensive processing at the same time, you can really stress out a laptop doing this. Yeah, I mean, the great red spot is clearly off to the left hand side now, a long way, and the shadow of Io is almost in the middle. If we're lucky, we'll get Io coming off the left side of the planet. Let me see if I can actually. I'm not so sure. We might lose everything before. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Oh, it's clearing up a bit. Right. Record. Start. After this capture, I will show you what I was looking at. and I also want to check the time-lapse camera. You'll see the fade off on the time-lapse camera fantastically. So what I was taking a look at was this. I was trying to work out where IO is in relation to the shadow, and my reckoning is it's above the great red spot on the, let me see where he is. It's above the great red spot and slightly to the right, my reckoning. But, and no, we'll see. And I'll be back to the chat in just 1 second. I want to take a look at if you can still see Jupiter on the time-lapse camera. Okay, you can see the orange sky glow for certain. Yeah, it's a shame. If the conditions from earlier had held, then this would be fantastic. I'm going to record one more frame. And then I'm going to see, someone said that the weather's going to be good tomorrow. I'm going to see if there's any transits tomorrow. We need more light. Not that much. And there somewhere. Oh my word, it's terrible. Like, terrible. Yeah, this kind of sucks. This is not what it was like earlier. Oh, feel free to rewind to the beginning of the stream where you can see just how much it's degraded. But yeah, see, you roll the dice, you take your chances. I'm going to bring you back to Celestia. I'm not losing a lot here. Celestia, good. And I need you on the stream, which is here. No, Celestia, there we go. Awesome. So, I need to move the time forwards. So this is tomorrow. This is what it'll look like tomorrow. And I think we go up to midnight, so I don't think there are any transits tomorrow. Oh, hang on, what the hell was that? Oh no, that's dirt on my screen. Leading to the, I think that was red dwarf, you know. The thing about black holes is they're black, and the thing about dirt on the scanner screen is it's also black. Right. Oh my word, yeah, this is disaster at the moment. You can barely see anything. I almost tempted to kill the stream at this point. I'll soldier on, but yeah, the conditions are bad. Yeah, in fact, I might just kill the stream. I don't know. A voice of thunder, but 4 of them. Proof Thunderfoot is a god. He's moving the solar system faster than real time. Yeah, it's a talent. That was Juperific. Oof. I feel a breeze. A wind is the absolute killer for planetary astronomy. Oops, that's a little bright. Yeah, I'm going to stick this one out. I mean, I've put so much into this already that I'm going to stick this one out till it goes behind the building. After I've recorded this one, I'm going to see. Oh, there's the rest of the moons. That's cute. It's Europa. Actually, you might not be able to see Europa. Let me make sure you can see Europa. Oh, you can't see anything. God, I'm an idiot. There we go. So Europa is just above my head at the moment, and yeah, that's, oh hey, it's clearing up. It's clearing up, and my exposure is coming down and down and down. I'm now down to a 50 millisecond exposure again. Hey, this might work out okay. Tricky stuff, this. We might get another hour out of this. There might be another hour. So that's good enough to lose the Great Red Spot. Great Red Spot will be gone by then. So, things start looking up. Do you still have the solar telescope? Yes, I still have the solar telescope, and I ought to revisit that sometime. One thing that I really want to do is see a transit of the International Space Station across the moon, because I think that'd be awesome. But those are relatively rare, and again, you've got to be lucky. You've got to have the clear sky at the right time. A figurative black hole sucks pollution out of the atmosphere. Yeah. Try spraying it with vinegar, yes, to get rid of planetary acne. Hey, this is clearing up. This is looking fantastic. This is clearing up. Might even be worth trying to refocus. This is going to be great. I'm even burning out in the image. Smart capture. And I'm going to wait for it to calm down for a bit. Come on, calm down for me. Oh, it's cloud gone over or something. Well, that's going to be a disaster of a frame. Oh, and then it clears up nicely at the end, just as I finish recording. Oh. So, how long have I been on the stream? Mammoth stream. What have we been doing? 2.5 hours, and I was probably doing an hour beforehand, and there's maybe another hour left, so thank you so much for doing the stream. No problem, Joachim. A pleasure. Have you heard about the Da Vinci and Veritas missions to Venus? No. But I'm all for it. I like seeing Venus is funky. The atmospheric pressure is getting on for the viscosity of water. It's 100 bar, so it's either 100 times more viscous than our atmosphere or 10 times less viscous than water, give or take. Someone smeared Vaseline on the lens to hide Jupiter's imperfections. I fear that you are right, Walter. Oh my god, it's not good. It's not good. Let's try. Oh, my back is killing me. I should have got some extension cords and done this from inside. And that's the ultimate sign of cowardice. Yeah, like I was saying, the first time I did this, I was all alone on a mountainside. And by the end of the evening, which is, like I was saying, that's usually the best bit of the planetary seeing, the temperature dropped right down, and I was absolutely freezing my ass off to the point where I could barely, in between doing the frames, I had to do the frames like I'm doing at the moment, and in between the frames, I would have to warm my hands up, and I had to run the car. The car was the only form of heat that I had, and yeah, so when at the start of the night it wasn't too bad. By the end, whoa, it's a nightmare. Yeah, hopefully I'll get some nice. Actually, I'm going to process one of these. Why not? Let's process one of them. At Thunderfoot, one of the is an orbiter, and the other one's going to be a lander. Both of those sound interesting. The landers, of course, are the ones that are really fun because, yeah, trying to land on Venus, yeah, it's tricky. Right, let's process an image on Registax. Just see how bad these are. Oh my poor back. Oh god. Set align points. Align. Oh. Actually, I should check that that's on the stream. Okay. The answer is no, he's drifting off. There we go. And we're back to silly exposures on this, I can tell you. So 70, 80 milliseconds, that sort of thing. It might not be so bad on the stacking. Might be okay. Then after this, I'm going to get a drink. And none of this airy fairy tea crap. You can whiskey and coke, I think. Whiskey. I was always a fan of whiskey and coke. Not great whiskey, of course, but yeah, whiskey is just. Oh my word! I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, let's just go with it. Doesn't really make any difference at this point. Yeah, that's terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And come back. There you go. I'm almost losing them completely. Even at 75 millisecond exposures, it's not enough. Okay, let's put you onto the wavelets to see what the last image actually looked like. And okay, so this is the last image that we were looking at. Let's go over to the wavelets, do everything on the wavelets. Yeah, you can see that it's really struggling with. So the black spot there should be a single black dot. The atmospheric shimmer is clearly throwing it through a bit of a loop. But hopefully once we get like all the frames stacked together here, it'll be better. And yeah, for me, if I can get Io leaving the limb of the planet, that would be awesome. I would consider that sort of mission accomplished if I managed to do that. And I think that's Io. Io is directly above the red spot at the moment. Just about see him. Right, let's go back to the live view. Which is not quite as impressive. Let's get into the corner. $105 millisecond exposures. Damn. Makes you appreciate what it was like earlier, or how good it was earlier. Yeah, it's super faded out. I'm back from tea break. How's it going? Oh, so the seeing is going to shit basically, which sucks, but yeah, that's life. And it's also an interesting sort of life lesson in just how dependent you are if you're looking at planets on the atmosphere, and how it can go from awesome to pants in an hour. half an hour. Might not actually get IO coming off the limb of the planet, which would suck. All of this to not see IO emerge from the other side. How's it going? Whiskey and Coke. That's how it's going. Yeah. I'm going to launch a crowdfunding curative radium tea. Any interest? Well, radium. They used to say it had all sorts of curative properties. Why is it so blurry? It's blurry because the atmosphere is really shimmery and there's light cloud. I'll do, once I've got everything processed, I'll do a recap like I did with the last rundown of Jupiter, and with the whole sky time-lapse camera you'll see there's all this light cloud that's come over and it's stealing about 3/4 of the light from Jupiter. So I'm living in hope that the clouds are going to go over and it's going to be awesome again, but probably not. Just tell IO to move faster. Yeah. Prayers for IO. Yeah. If we all pray hard enough, then maybe he'll get a move on. Let me lean over here for a second. So it's maybe not even that. It's another 20 minutes, I reckon, before it goes behind the house. Well, it'll still look awesome in the time lapse because you'll see the Great Red Spot go completely across the planet. It's just a beautiful little marker like that. Actually, it's possible. We might yet get to see IO leave. Let's pull him up. So I think after I get the next image, the next capture, I'm going to process the image. We might be able to see IO as it gets near the disk of the planet. Like I was saying, you get more contrast on the edge of the planet because they're not as bright as the middle of the planet by a significant amount. Come on. Why did you do this to me? It was so good earlier. And it's getting to the time of year where having it clear for an extended period of time is not as common as it used to be. In summer, Prague gets these really long still nights, which are absolutely fantastic for planetary viewing. This is autumn now, and it's not like that at all. Right. I'm going to do a capture the second it starts looking. Okay, let's just do a capture there. Okay, there we go. Registax. You have to forgive me, guys, I'm getting a bit tired. Not as chatty as I was earlier. we are coming up to midnight. So a line point and a line. Yeah, I might get that whiskey earlier. I'm feeding a bit here. I suppose caffeine would be better, but nah, whiskey. Temperatures dropped down a lot as well. We're now yeah, below 10. Yeah, this looks well, we'll see how it looks. I'll bring them up on the processing tab for you. Let's put you up there. So we're now on Registax. And that's it. Boom, wavelets. And do all. And now we see what we say. And it's not great. And I can't actually see IO at all. I know where it is, but I can't see it. Bum. Bum, bum, bum. And it's getting fainter again. I hate cloudy weather. Start capture. Fine, just do it. I don't care anymore. I'm getting my whiskey after this. That's a shame. Mind you, actually, the one that I did 10 years ago went very much like this. That it started off good in the early evening, and then it just went completely to shit later. Although, you know, you get it at the right time of year, you can get easily 10 hours of straight darkness, and that means you can easily get a full rotation of Jupiter. Right, I'm going to see some. If we had one element we chose to harvest from the solar system, what would be the best for humanity? Definitely. What is it? The element of surprise. I stole that from a t-shirt, but and Loser Donald says, Voice of Thunder, how far inland will water vapor from the ocean affect this thing through a telescope? The humidity, virtually all the humidity on the planet is from the oceans. You know, it precipitates out when it gets cold, which is why mountain ranges are good for that sort of thing. But the vapor doesn't really so much affect the. You can see, even if it's light fog, your planets are usually sufficiently bright that it doesn't really bother you when you're looking at planets through telescopes. Is there any point buying a 130 Apo? I wouldn't. My experience with telescopes has been aperture is simple king, and so I've actually got a 150 millimeter It's a semi-apo refractor, and it's very nice, and it gives very contrasty images. But if you want to do straight up imaging, aperture just wins. And the only downside that you get is the telescopes get very heavy and very non-portable. Right, I can get one more grab on this. So I did some experimenting. I had the 7-inch Maxutov with a very long focal length, very good for planets, and I had a similar refractor. And when you hook it up to an imaging system, the 11-inch Maxutov just beats all of them. Clearly beats all of them. Aperture is just where it is. So Newtonians are actually also very good. The only thing they suffer from is the open tube means that they tend to get dust in. So they're sort of higher maintenance. And the other problem with the big telescopes is they take a long time to cool down. Now this one is not so bad. The Eclipse that you're looking at, sorry, I've not put you back on to the view of the live view, which actually you might be getting a little bit better. You're looking at a transit of Io. That's the shadow of Io on Jupiter. What's your experience with controlling metal fires? As a machinist, the only thing that you can do, magnesium would be virtually impossible to put out. Lithium is even worse. The best that you can do is, carbon dioxide's a waste of time. Argon will work fine for putting the fires out, but the thing is that these metal fires, they burn at a couple of thousand degrees, so even when you cut off the air supply from them completely, you still have to wait like 10 or 15 minutes for them to cool down before, if you take the argon atmosphere off before then, they just catch fire again, and they're a bloody nightmare. What happens is the telescope doesn't cool down. You get a effect not that dissimilar to what you're looking at the moment. There's tube currents, there's air circulating within the tube. It gives you a very shimmery image. And the bigger the telescope, the longer they take to cool down. It's also a problem with some of the bigger refractors. The longer the focal length telescope, the more of a problem it is. So let me just record a little bit more, and I'll be back with you. My word. That's not a happy view of Jupiter. Not a happy view at all. Right, I'm going to get me a drink. I will be back in 2 minutes. Well, not even that. Oh, God. So, whiskey and coke it is. Ah! Cheers. Let's get rid of the, what was the tea again? It was ginger and lemon. And let's get him somewhere. Okay, and let's take a quick appraisal of how much longer we got. And the answer is not much longer. But see if we can improve that image any. Well, I mean, you can still see the transit. It's just that, you know, if we had really good seeing, it would be a clear, beautiful little black circle. And with the different moons, they give different sized shadows. Oh, come on, seriously? Seriously? So this is cloud. I'm going up to 150 millisecond exposure. Okay, let's just do it. It's not, and even that's not enough. So this is over. I'm losing 90% of the light from Jupiter in the clouds at the moment to get this image, and even that's not enough. It needs to be more. Holy crap, I'm up to 0.2 seconds exposure. Right, let me show you what it was at the beginning. This is the exposure that I was using at the beginning of the night, and now, yeah, 1/3 of a second exposure is not, well, it's about right. Oops. Yeah, okay, we're going to lose it completely, I can tell. Oops. Actually, this is still, considering I'm on it's a 1/4 of a second, 1/4 of a second exposure, and it's still, oh wow, it's still recording. Holy crap, because the frames take so long to record. Well, of course I only get 4 frames per second. It takes about a minute to record everything. Yeah, this is a problem. I'm almost at the point where I could just continuously record at the moment because I'm getting so few frames because so little light is coming through from Jupiter. So it's taken me over 2 minutes to record what would normally be, well, there we go, yeah, 5 frames per second. And it used to be 30 frames per second. Yeah, so it's basically, at this point, I could just continuously record Jupiter. And it's still not going to be enough. There you go. It's still getting fainter. It might be that it's as it goes behind the house, you'll start to lose the photons, but we're not there yet. Oh, I can see the cloud that it's behind, I think. Maybe, I don't know. but it's certainly not going behind the house yet. Okay, let's do another capture. Oh. I'm going to bring up those images from earlier in the evening. Oh, just because I want it to fade. Don't do this to me. You put so much into this one. Right, let's pull up that image from earlier in the night. Actually, let's take a look at the comments. See how we're doing. What's my favourite brand of whiskey? So I almost always mix it with Coke, and so it's Teachers. And we did this completely blind taste testing of whiskey with everyone in the lab, and the Johnny Walker Red Label was the best performer in terms of bang for the buck. The Black Label and the Glenfiddichs did both score better on the blind taste test, but you know, they weren't. They cost like 2 or 3 times as much, and there's no way you can just about tell the difference between them. And if you're mixing it with Coke, they taste different. I actually prefer the Teachers with Coke. Hey Phil, what painkillers would you recommend? I was doing carpentry and my spine sympathizes with you. Yeah. I probably should take painkillers as well, but I've got nothing to recommend on them. I don't take them at all. The nearest I get is, I forget what those I take. I very rarely get hangovers these days, but if I do, it's ibuprofen or paracetamol. I forget. No, ibuprofen or I think that I can't remember. Right, let's do. So, hey, we got more photons coming through. This is awesome. Unfortunately, the atmosphere is not got any stellar. Although maybe it has. Whatever. Let's just record it. Yeah, no, it's still not good, but it's better than it was. People message me. So a lot of the people in the lab, they are sarcastically skeething about the astronomy. You know, joking that all I do is look at space potatoes, and you know, space potatoes all look the same. Yeah, Saturn looks awesome. Thunderfoot, do you have thoughts on scientific method potentially replacing societal model or replacing money and politics in the future? No. In fact, yeah, I'm fairly pessimistic as to the way that society goes. You know, what dictates who leads society is more something that resonates with how people feel than whether they're competent leaders or not, and that's not a good recipe. Paracetamol and Tylenol, yeah. Weed for pain, Grant's whiskey with Coke. I actually got into science from watching my grandfather mix arak, a aniseed based drink, Oh yeah, yeah, no, that's right. I know that one, the one that does the sort of milky precipitate. Hang on, I think we're. Let me just check that we're still live. Yeah, we're still live. That's good. Thanks for showing this to the internet. It's been good. A good while since I had an good astronomical setup. Yeah, I mean, it's not just having it. You need everything else. You need the good sky. That's a complete crapshoot. And yeah, the bigger the telescope, the more a pain in the ass it is to have everything set up properly. Start capture. We have to be getting really close now, actually, to Io leaving. I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get Io leaving the disk of the planet. It's got to be really close now, actually. I'm going to process that. I think that might be it. Oh, we're on a new day. There we go, we're on the 14th. Second frame on the 14th. Oh, I sleep well tonight. It's not quite Spartans tonight, we dine in hell. Or, yeah, but, yeah. Spartans, tonight we will sleep well in a comfy bed. Come on, baby. I want Io off the other side of the planet. And I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure another 20 minutes and we're good. Oh. So this is the other thing. Let's just get the processing done on this one. Jupiter rises earlier and earlier, or it's higher and higher in the sky at the start of the night, and my limiting factor here is when it goes behind the house over here. So this is the longest period of time I can get looking straight at Jupiter without actually moving the telescope. But the thing is such a monstrously big thing that moving it is a pain in the ass, and also if you do move it, you're away from all the creature comforts that you would have in a house, like tea and whiskey and all that sort of thing. And he processes the image and you cannot see Io. And it's a really shitty looking image as well. But let's record another shot of this. I think I can see it. But it's such a massively shimmery image. Yeah, I can see it. It's right on the edge. It's right on the edge. You can see it. We are literally minutes away. The next 2 frames, Io leaves the edge of the planet. Ah, finally, we made it. We made it, fellas. Oh, and a super chat comes in. Thank you, Brad, for the super chat. Show me your moons. Yeah, yeah. Well, we are mooning professionally tonight. We're mooning with the biggest planet of them all. Yeah, it's right on the edge. It's coming off now. It's coming off now. No, not quite, but it's really close. Oops. Kill. Score. Yep, there it is. I see it. I see you. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you can see Io on the edge of Jupiter. What's my favourite deep space mission? Oh, Voyager 2, definitely. So when I was a kid, it's almost my first memories was Voyager 2 at Saturn, and the thing was, it was like years between when it would go from one planet to the next, and then, you know, a couple of years later it did the flyby of Uranus, and then after that it was Neptune. And I remember it going past Neptune and seeing the nitrogen cryovolcanism on Triton. And let me come back. I want to see. Yeah, easy, you can see it off the limb of the planet. And star capture. Boom. So from this, oh no, cloud, no cloud. So I'm going to get the exposure manually. Yeah, Jupiter is giving birth to a little baby. It's giving birth to a little moon baby. Good. Alright, so do we actually get the moon's shadow to the edge, or do we lose it first? Oh, now we're getting really close. Okay, we're going to start losing it behind the house in the next few minutes. So the image will start to fade simply because, well, the aperture of the telescope's like this, and obviously as it starts going, basically setting, the image will start to fade slowly from now on. So we will have to dial up the exposure, but I'm happy with this. It's a shame that it went to shit when it did, but hey, we got a full transit of Io. Here's to Io, the most volcanic body in the solar system that's turned itself inside out like 7 times over its lifespan. Jupiter birth sounds quite alarming. It certainly does. Oh, the image has gone all black. Jupiter has given birth. So I think it was Minerva. It was like the goddess of wisdom. Jupiter had a headache, and basically the headache became, I think it was Minerva, goddess of wisdom or something, and sprung fully fledged from his head. So that's what happens if you don't have enough Tylenol in the morning. So capture. It's not actually a bad image given that they're 100 millisecond exposures. So the entire transit, I think Io is the fastest transit, and this was almost as perfect timing as I could get on it. So even though this was suboptimal for half of the evening, I don't feel this was too bad. What telescope do you use? What I'm using at the moment is an 11-inch Schmidt Cassegrain. It's a Celestron. Telescopes these days are universally good. It's actually really difficult to get a bad telescope these days. The little ones you can, but any of the Celestrons, they're perfectly solid, respectable machines. For visual planetary observing, they tend to lack the contrast. With the refractors you get more contrasty images, but you also lack the aperture, and aperture is cheaper with the Schmitz. So yeah, I'm very happy with the Celestrons. I've got several of them. The Orion Maxutovs, they're also very good. 8-inch Celestron is a very respectable machine. It's got decent portability and great images, great views of the planet, and it's big enough to do some pretty decent deep sky photography with. Hey, we are clear of the limb. Let me just center him up. This is perfection. But yeah, it's starting to fade now, and it's fading. Oh, this is horrible. This can't be. It looks like it's. No, it's still. I'm still losing 4/5 of the light. Simply because it's being scattered with the clouds. That's good. And now all of a sudden it gets nice and bright again. Yeah. What would have been nice is if we didn't have the clouds come over. That would have been really nice. But I think as an animation, this thing's going to be superb. Yeah, even though the individual frames, and they're pretty flaky in places. Like now, for instance, when I lose. I stopped recording, but I have to dial this up to 130 milliseconds to get a decent image. And I'm back to the chat, guys. Back to the chat for another. Joseph Gravy says, Jupiter, bringer of jollity. Someone knows Holst the planet, and bringer of the space potatoes. The giant space potatoes. The giant striped space potatoes. Jupiter's planets were named after Roman gods. Mistresses, really? I didn't know that. And Europa is definitely a girly name in that thing, but Io, Ganymede and Callisto, maybe, yeah. I don't think there's life on Europa. I was saying this earlier, that you need a lot of chemistry for life, and a lot of the chemistry on Earth happens through atmospheric processes, be they you need an ocean that is exposed to space or an atmosphere, and that you don't get on Europa. It's basically ice and water is the nearest you get to a surface there, and that means you miss out on being able to do a whole bunch of chemistry. And also there is a lot of the chemistry that goes on Earth, especially if you're looking at abiogenesis, is you get a lot of the chemistry happens on the surface of aerosols. 130 milliseconds looks really nice, says someone, and oh, we've got loads more light now. We're down to 80 milliseconds for the exposure. And even that is, yeah, it's going behind the house. It's going behind the house. I'm going to have to stop soon. Which part of me is like, yes! I've been doing this for a while. In fact, I could count up the frames that I've done and tell you exactly how long I've been doing it. In fact, I think I might do that. Let's count up the frames. What? Why can't I see my removable derive? There he is. Okay, good. Select all. You gonna tell me how many? 154 divided by 2 is 75-ish, 76, 77. Yeah, there's 77 there. And 7, so 85-ish times by 3. That's the number of minutes I've been doing this. Is 204 hours basically. Cool. My mental ability has slowed down significantly as well. Let me just check how we're doing. Oh, it's clear off the limb now. Yeah, we got space. We got space between Jupiter and Io. And the telescope has moved around so far that things are starting to fall off the table. You see, it's rotated all the way around. Okay, I'm going to do a capture there. And we are almost done, my friends. Why is it so blurry? It's so blurry because the atmosphere has the atmosphere needs to be very still and ideally clear for good planetary seeing. Light pollution doesn't matter that much for planets. Unfortunately, whilst the seeing when I started was fantastic, I ought to pull up some of the images that I had at the beginning of the evening. They were awesome. If it had stayed like that for the rest of this would have been I would have gladly done this, but you know, as it stands, yeah, the seeing got really bad just about the time that the shadow of Io first started moving across Jupiter. And so let's take a look at it. Hey, this shadow is going to make it to the edge. No, it's not. We are definitely, we've lost it from the top of the telescope, from the bottom of the telescope, from the top. We've got 5, maybe 10 minutes. That's three or 4 more frames that we can do on this. And I can compensate. You'll start losing resolution as well. You'll start losing resolution and light gathering. Whew. Yeah, it's not so much the warm atmosphere. So if the atmosphere is still, you can get it. What you don't need is the big differential in temperature between night and day. So there are certain times of year when the ground in summer the ground gets very hot, and at night you get lots of turbulent air coming off the ground, so that tends not to be so good. And the same sort of true in winter, but there are other times of year when you just don't get those big turbulent currents and the air settles. And you'll know these things when you get up early in the morning and the air is very still. That's basically your perfect planetary observing weather. Okay, let's record a little more. So 4 hours isn't actually, it's half a rotation of Jupiter. So it's almost guaranteed that you will see the Great Red Spot if you watch Jupiter for 4 hours. But we got very lucky here in that we got to see the Great Red Spot go all the way across the surface of the planet. So this is the bizarre thing. Light fog is universally held to be the best planetary observing weather, and it's not so much the fog, right? The dispersion from the water doesn't help, but for light fog to form, the atmosphere needs to be very still, and it's that very still air that gives you great planetary viewing. If we had it here, the view that you would get through a telescope like this of Jupiter would blow your socks off. Ooh, that's yeah, we're losing it now. We're losing it. It's gone behind the building. This isn't the atmosphere anymore. This is essentially its setting. But the crazy thing is the atmosphere, nah, it's still not good. It's still not good. Yeah, I don't feel too bad about that. Oh, and that's clouds. So this is the thing. We've not got light fog at the moment. We've got high cloud, and that's not helping any. I'm going to record a frame there, a little ahead of time. So I just managed to confuse myself. String and antimatter. Yeah, this particle physics stuff is complicated. Hail antimatter. All is lost. Yeah, it's all over in 10 minutes. Well, that's normal for guys, I think, but yeah, it's setting. It's going behind the house. So I'm going to process that last image that we had, and I think we'll go out on that. And here we go on the align. Oh, looks like little Io. She's all lonely, as we are. Yeah. Yells at clouds. Yes, angry man yells at high wispy clouds, causing minor disturbance to the atmosphere. What's a scope mount would one need for astrophotography? Almost anything, actually. So for deep sky, you need clear skies, and you need no light pollution. And after that, you can almost get away with just a digital SLR on a modest tracking mount. You can do good stuff like that. You'll get nice pictures. But again, the thing that's most critical is the clear skies. Without that, it doesn't matter what you got. So my chances of doing deep sky photography here are zero. Absolutely zero. There's just way too much light pollution. And okay, let's do the wavelets and do all, and this is not going to improve that much. No, I can't even see bloody Io. Oh, that's terrible. Terrible. That's worse than the EV scope. That's very depressing. Where's my image of Jupiter? Okay. Star capture. Off you go, my son. So if you can see it on the raw images, you must be able to see it on the processed ones. Right, so let me try processing that one. I want to at least see Io. I can't even see it on the one that I just looked at. Oh, hang on, it's because I didn't hit the do all button. Oh no, I did hit the do all button. It's just, it is that bad. Okay, right. Oh, grim. Yeah, let's not stress it. Let's go for the best 15% of frames. We're throwing away 95% of the 85% of the frames. And we'll see how it goes. Castillo says, Voice Thunder, like to get your view on how you would solve the problem of light pollution and still keep the street lights. The real problem is street lights used to be sodium street lights. So there are emission street, it's just an atomic emission. It was a very discrete emission line that you could filter out fairly well. The new street lights are LEDs and they're broad spectrum. You can't filter them out at all. And everyone loves them, of course, because they're very efficient, these new LED street lights. But they are the absolute kiss of death for light pollution. There's no way you can filter them out, right? Mercury lights, sodium street lights, those you can actually do a fairly decent job of getting rid of that with a light pollution filter. LED lights, nah, it's a nightmare. And that really struck me when I went back to England about 3 or 4 years ago now, is that virtually everything has gone over to LED street lights, and that's bad news bears for astronomy. Okay, we are stacking up this last frame. We're taking a look at the wavelets and do everything. Come on. Where's IO? I know he's there. Okay, this is actually worse than the raw images. I would be better off. Yeah, this is the stacking is clearly screwing up. So even in the raw images, I would be better off just going through and pulling out one of the best raw images than the Registax version. Which I might just do, because yeah, you can just about see the IO, but yeah, I can't see it on Registax. That's crazy. I'll show you what Registax looks like at the moment. It is terrible. Let me show you. There you go. It's the Registax version. So let's see if we can actually. Let's do something crazy. Oh, I've got to hit the dual button. That's right. Because yeah. Oh no, you can just about see IO, but not really. Let's do something crazy. Do that. That'll have an effect. And even at that, you can't really see IO. That's crazy. Or the shadow of the moon of IO. Whatever. It'll take me a while to do all the crunching on this tomorrow. And the image gets fainter and fainter because Jupiter does go behind the house. And oh, yes. Only the top part of the telescope now can see Jupiter. So I think this is going to be the last hurrah. And dial up the exposure. I'm going to leave it at that. That's it. That's the last one. That was quite an exertion. And I think, yeah, that's Io actually leaving the disk of the planet. Yep, okay, we're done. So, I'm going to give it a couple of minutes for, yeah, anyone got any more last interesting questions? Thunderfoot, would you say LED brightness is a problem for the, yeah, I mean, the problem with the LED lights is they're full spectrum. They're a continuous spectrum. You can't filter them out. You absolutely cannot filter LEDs out from light pollution. Sodium streetlights, you know, the Barfy orange sky glow, that you can filter out quite well with didinium glass of one sort or another that essentially just absorbs that single band of orange light out of the sky. It's not great, but it's an awful lot better than the alternatives. Okay guys, I think that's basically it. Many thanks for watching. What are you going to do when I get 1 million subscribers? I thought about making a uranium play button. Yeah, who needs gold when you can have a uranium? Thank you for a wonderful evening. Come disable over spending time. Yeah, looking over the shoulder. I'm glad to have shown you all a transit on Jupiter and yeah, of Io. Okay guys, yep, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the super chats, and I will see you next time, hopefully when I've got a lot of this processed up and it looks a lot more awesome. Okay, bye.